Hey guys, so today I want to talk a little bit more about quotation marks. We've been talking about putting them around titles of shorter works, but obviously there are a lot of situations other than titles where we want to use quotation marks, specifically around direct quotations, which is when we're quoting someone's words or writing, and we're doing it word for word, so we're writing down exactly what they said, okay? So, obviously, we've all heard this before, but I see some of y'all not doing it. So just a reminder, you should always, 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 always put quotation marks before and after a direct quotation. So again, when you're word for word using someone else's words or writing. Okay? So example, the truth is powerful and will prevail, said Sojourner Truth. Okay, so my quote, the truth is powerful and will prevail, that's my direct quotation, and it's got quotation marks around it. All right. Now, if the quotation is interrupted by other words, place quotation marks around the direct quotation only. Okay, so you don't just want to put quotation marks around the whole thing if you interrupt the quote. So, example, give me liberty, Patrick Henry cried, or give me death. All right, so only give me liberty or give me death is the direct quotation, and I interrupted in the middle. So I want to put two sets of quotation marks in that situation. All right, so there's a few different capitalization rules that you should be aware of with quotation marks, all right? So you always want to capitalize the first word of the quote when you're quoting a complete sentence, okay? So example, Mr. Johnson, who was working in his field that morning, said, the alien spaceship appeared right before my own two eyes, okay? So I'm quoting this complete sentence from Mr. Johnson, so I'm going to capitalize my word the that starts that sentence, just like you capitalize complete sentences in your writing. You do it within quotation marks as well. All right, do not capitalize the first letter of the quote if you're only using part of a sentence. So example, although Mr. Johnson has seen odd happenings on the farm, he stated that the spaceship certainly takes the cake when it comes to unexplainable activity. So certainly takes the cake is my only direct quote from Mr. Johnson. It's not a complete sentence, it's just one phrase he used, so you don't have to capitalize it then, just like you wouldn't have to capitalize it in regular writing. Right? Now, if you broke up the quote in the middle of a sentence, don't capitalize the second part of the quote. So, example, I didn't see an actual alien being, Mr. Johnson said, but I sure wish I had. So I interrupted right in the middle of a complete sentence from Mr. Johnson, so I don't need to capitalize that but because I interrupted myself. This second part of the quote is not a complete sentence by itself, so I don't need to capitalize it. All right, so let's do a little bit of practice. All right, so here we want to add quotation marks as needed and underline words that need to be capitalized. Okay, so Leon dragged the huge crate into the house and shouted, "Where is everyone?" Okay, so I'm looking for my direct quotation. So I see this word shouted. All right, so words like shouted, said, asked, replied, wrote, those are good clues. We're looking at a direct quote. So I see my quote is where is everyone? So I need to put quotation marks around that, and you should be doing the same thing on your paper. All right, and then where is everyone is a complete sentence. So I would want to have capitalized, that where. Right? So let's take a look at my second sentence. All right, Terry asked, who else had a great impact on a country? All right, so again, I've got a word asked, right? Like replied, said, wrote, shouted. That's a good clue. We're about to get a direct quote. So it looks like we have this question that Terry is asking, who else had a great impact on the country? So I'm going to put quotation marks around that. All right, and then once again, I've got a complete sentence here. Who else had a great impact on a country? So I'm going to underline my who because I should have capitalized that. All right, let's look at my next one. Well, Ben remarked, someone named Gandhi inspired a nonviolent revolution in India. All right, so notice I started my quote from Ben, then I interrupted myself to say Ben remarked, and then I finished my quote. So I have two separate sections of the quote that I'm going to want to put quotation marks around. So, well, and then someone. All right, so since I interrupted myself in the middle of the sentence, I don't need to capitalize anything else here. Okay? All right, so we're going to be talking more and more about quotes. There's lots of weird little nitpicky rules you need to know with quotes. But we're starting just with where to put the quotation marks and when to capitalize. All right, and we'll be doing more practice with this in class. So if you have any questions, let me know when we are doing that.